Talk more about this. Let's bring in France 24's Douglas Herbert. Doug, this is the first visit of the Belgian king to the DRC since he ascended to the throne in 2013. It's heavy with symbolism that's really tied to Belgium's awful colonial past. And this is what makes this whole trip so delicate.
Yeah. What makes it delicate is that the brother of this king's great-great-grandfather, Leopold II, is perhaps the most notorious symbolism of European exploitation of Africa, and especially Central Africa, during the colonial period. If you want to think of sordid chapters in any European country's colonial past, look no further than Leopold II in Belgium. Beginning in the mid-1880s, he basically seized a part of Central Africa, roughly 75, 76 times the size of modern-day Belgium, used it not as Belgium's fiefdom, as his own personal fiefdom, personal enrichment. What did that mean? It meant that he basically rounded up families, separated family members, enslaved them. Millions were displaced and uprooted. Up to 10 million people estimated killed under Leopold II's personal enrichment colonial scheme. And it's only today, over a century later, that Belgium is finally beginning to come to grips with this past. And it's partly due to something that didn't even happen in Belgium. The Black Lives Matters movement in the U.S. a few years back really touched off anti-racist protests here in Europe, too, including Belgium, where they started to topple statues across the country of Leopold II and other colonial masters who are now reviled by much of the population, not all, and even this king broke his silence and, as you said, expressed his profound regret for what he called acts of violence and cruelty in the past. It is a long process, and you can imagine there's still a lot of sensitivities there. And, you know, you have a king right now like this. It's his first visit there, obviously, but the last visit by a Belgian king was in 2010, Albert II. And only, I think, I don't know, like 7, I think, kings during the whole post-colonial period have ever even visited Congo from Belgium. It's a long, grueling reconciliation. That's what the key word of this visit is, the buzzword, reconciliation challenge looming ahead. King Philippe, he wants to rise to the occasion, but he can't be too political in the process.
Right. There's also a lot of symbolism in this trip. And then in the places where he's going to go, he's going particularly to the country's war-ravaged east. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, most specifically, the North Kivu region. When, you speak of the Democratic Republic of Congo, yes, you have Kinshasa all the way on one side of the country, way out in the west. Then all the way, thousands of kilometers away, you have the Kivu region, which is, when I say ravaged by war, that's an understatement, Jeannie. This is basically a region that has been in the throes on again and off again of massacres and violence that have claimed millions of lives by some estimates. And here, the rich irony, it almost sounds cliched to say it, it is perhaps, yes, one of the most mineral-rich regions on Earth right now, hence one of the reasons for this war. You have the central government in Kinshasa blaming neighboring Rwanda for basically supporting rebels in this region that are hostile to the Congolese central government. But it goes way beyond that. Obviously, this is also a war over mineral wealth. It's a war, ethnically based war, and it's a war that draws in all of the regional rivalries, notably the Rwandan rivalry that I just spoke of. So the king is going to be going with the queen to a clinic in Bukavu, in the heart of this region, owned a clinic run by Denis Mukwege. You might remember the name. He was the 2018 Nobel Peace Prize winner. What did he win for? His fight against sexual violence. So really, it's a double-pronged mission here. The king wants to, show solidarity with the absolute ravaged, battered down populations of this region, and at the same time stand up for the victims of sexual violence, which is a key marker of this conflict in the war in North Kivu region, and especially the women who've been victims of wartime rape.
Thanks for that, Doug. France 24's Doug Herbert.